Hello friends, welcome to TCG How to Trade. My name is Jason, partner and co-founder of the Chart Guys. Been trading with some great people for a long time and we love to teach. So we have created this channel to try to show you how we apply trade theory and how we approach trade setups and how we move from thinking about them to seeing them to actually executing them. That's what this channel is all about. So I have some examples today for PLTR. I've got one on Netflix, and if I have time, I think I got one more from the other day on you. So what we're going to do is start with PLTR. I'm going to show you a little clip from our morning show where we're talking about the setup, what we anticipated, why it was the most likely outcome, and then we'll chat a little bit about how it all turned out. Then we'll get into some post-trade analysis. Let's get started. PLTR inching toward its 23-29 level. Why is that level important? Where did it come from? Hourly resistance over here. So we got ourselves a nice little move. I could see a wedge developing though. I don't like that. So here is our wedge on the 1 minute time frame, right up against that area of resistance. So you notice that I drew on the wick here by accident, and then I come down to the body and it correlates perfectly with this one. That gave those sort of little developments make me more confident in calling things wedges when it works out unintentionally and gives me a third point of validation. So we're up against 23.29 resistance. We have a wedge, and if the market turns at all for us, we still need to do some healthier 15-minute consolidation. Yeah, I like PLTR over 23.29. I'd love to see a bear break. I'd love to see some sideways consolidation and then breakout. That would be my ideal situation. So give me like an inside bar range over here. All right, so we just watched a quick intro that we covered in the TCG morning show. We cover tickers 3 times a day. We go over setups that our members are interested in, and that's the type of thing we do. We look at the setup. What is the most likely outcome if this happens? What is it likely to manifest as? And in this case, we pretty much nailed it, didn't we? We had our 1 minute chart. We had our little bear break. This is the drawing from the follow through after we got our low, and we went right back up to test 23.29. After that, there was some opportunity on PLTR, but there were better trades elsewhere. So how could we have actually been able to trade this and use this? Well, it's still all on the 1 minute time frame. We know about the wedge. We know about that resistance overhead. It really comes down to expecting that 5 minute higher low or that 50-minute higher low or that 2 minute higher low, knowing that we are overall bullish on the day, allowing for a little bit of weakness to get that higher low. And if we zoom in here, we can see that we've got this beautiful miniature tightening range on the 1 minute time frame. We have an inside bar, inside bar. This guy breaks spare. We get a double bottom and a bounce, and that tells me that the bulls are interested in moving in the right direction. We have the opportunity for the bears to make a move. They fail to capitalize on it. They're so weak they're unable to break this tiny, tiny little bottom that we just set. That's all you got. Bulls moving in the direction. Really nice example of a little bit of a wedge, how to recognize it, and how we could possibly play these things in the future. Let's go check out Netflix, because Netflix was a really good one too. All right, we're going to start with Netflix. Had a nice trade later in the day today, and it was actually a pretty beautiful setup and follow through. If you haven't been paying attention, Netflix got a big thunder punch right into the jejunum, and it's down pretty far, trying to find its new home. So when we have these big event-based moves, earnings-based moves, we got to carve out new territory, and that can give us a good opportunity, but it also gives us a lot of uncertainty, so it can be difficult to make some decisions here. But what we are looking at, and we're using the chart replay feature on TradingView, is a pretty lackluster afternoon. Not a lot has happened. We had a big bleed. We managed to stifle it off, but mostly we're moving sideways. And sideways is not something that we particularly like to see ourselves in. So what we're doing at this point is just watching Netflix. There's not really a setup that we like to see here. But what we notice over the course of the afternoon and toward the end of the day is we get a little bit of a tightening range. We can see that we have a resistance of 505.76. We've got a little bit of a low down here at 502.55, and things are starting to just look like they're tightening up a little bit. We may be getting some inside ranges, and those inside ranges are beautifully, easily defined, nicely defined ways to allow us to recognize when we might have some opportunity here. Another reason I was interested in Netflix is that we had that Biden news today that really impacted a lot of tickers in a lot of big ways. That was about 10:06 a.m. We started to see the drop. Here's 10:05. This is all that Netflix did. Netflix is already beaten up. It doesn't care anymore. What are you going to kick me when I'm down? I don't care. I got nothing to lose. So this is Netflix's approach. And if they want to absorb that sort of market weakness and shake it off, then I am looking at this and saying, okay, we're pretty beat up, already beat up. Where can we go from here? I think we can go up. That seems like the most likely outcome for strength and volatility at this point. So at this juncture in the chat room, I'm throwing this out, and it's really an if, and I'm really heavy on it. In fact, I even go and italicize and make sure that everyone knows it's a if. Netflix, dare I say, if we get 5-minute higher lows, if bulls can get over 505.76, I consider throwing a dart. That's me saying, I'm going to see what we can do with this. Maybe we can get a trade out of this situation. So why am I interested in this primarily? Well, we got our double top. We have overall 5-minute higher lows. And I'm going to allow the bulls an opportunity here to show me that they may be able to push to the upside. So in addition to this nice contracting range, I also start to see another little bit of a range building up here. And we got ourselves a little bit of a high at 504.43. At this point, and I'm always watching my big weird combo charts over here, I noticed that we've got ourselves an inside bar, hourly time frame. We're not really surprised by that. We can see that we're going sideways. So our hourly range of our inside bar is what? It is 505.60. I'm interested in 505.76. And the low of our inside bar, let's go plug that in over here, is actually 503.23. Now the situation that makes this more interesting is that the bears have an opportunity to break the inside bar bearish. The inside bar bearish. They do so and have zero follow through. They try again, zero follow through. And at that point, we end up with a nice inside bar reversal setup. What that tells us is a nicely packaged way of saying, look, bears had an opportunity. They were so weak. They're so weak they couldn't do it. Look what they did with this Biden news. And look what they did with their best opportunity to follow that. No, if the Bears are not going to push any lower than that, then bulls are in a great position. So the actual signal for us to take this trade would have been 504.43, a double top 5-minute bull break. And what do we get? We get another little fake out, and we go right to the top, and we run away with it. So right into the end of the day, we can see this beautiful little reversal on the hourly time frame. Netflix triggering a trade from 504.43 right into the end of the day. Bulls carrying that strength. And I'm not exactly sure where we are after hours. I just sat down just to record this after I did my farming work. Nice little run. Okay, 504.43 actionable signal to 509.66. I wouldn't have held this over the end of the day. I didn't take this trade because I was doing the live coverage and missed all the opportunity. But it was there. The setup was there. We recognized it. And being able to recognize trades is half the battle. Having an action plan and understanding how you're going to respond to these situations, well, maybe that's the other half. I don't know which half is actually taking the money. I like that part, but I'm focused on skill development. With proper discipline and planning and execution, you are going to succeed as a trader, and the money comes once you've figured out all of that. So that's what I try to focus on. What do we have next? I think we got one more. Let's take a look at U. This was a trade set up from yesterday. All right, the next ticker we're going to check out is U. This is a really nice trade that happened yesterday or the day before. We're using the chart replay feature. So when you are making any sort of trade plan, you have to understand exactly what the context is that you are trading in. If you are trading on choppy sideways action on the daily time frame, you're probably going to be dealing with choppy 5-minute action inside that range because there's no trend, there's nothing useful. U on the daily time frame does not have that sort of choppy action. We can see a beautiful daily equilibrium. This is what catches the eye of the members and chart guys who happen to ask about this setup. It is a tightening range on the daily time frame. Gives us an equilibrium. When we're looking for an equilibrium, what we want to do is have bulls hold above 94.26 and stay below 103.22. That would allow us to build out this equilibrium. If we break one of these two levels, we don't really care which, then we're going to look for a breakout, that compression that has been building into either a significant upside move or a significant downside move. So as we approach the 5-minute time frame on this particular day, that is the situation we're looking at. We're looking for bulls to maintain a higher low over 94.26. If they break it, great, we switch perspectives. But until that happens, we are looking for that higher low and pattern continuation. So let's jump to the 5-minute time frame and we'll walk through this trade as it develops. So let's go and look at our supports and resistances. We are much closer to our support at this point, and we need to stay above 94.26, right? So as the bell opens, we see our first 5-minute candlestick come into play. Where is that here? Big dip, and almost immediately bought. So we didn't even stay down there for very long. If you zoomed in, and at risk of breaking the chart, why don't we go ahead and do that? Look how short that drop was. Quick sell-off, V-shaped recovery, bulls absolutely denying that bearish attack. And in addition to denying that bearish attack, what does it give us? It gives us a higher low in the daily time frame, perhaps uncomfortably close to the 94.26 level, but it is a sound rejection from the bearish attack trying to get that going. From there, we see a pretty steady supply of bull pressure as we head to the upside, and we hit a high of 107, if I am correct, and we start to pull back a little bit. So at this point, all we are looking for is 5-minute higher lows, 15-minute higher lows, all of that sort of stuff. What we do find is we get a little base of support in the 5-minute time frame, 98.53, and again at this point, all we're looking for is trend continuation. We're looking for a 5-minute higher low to form here, and we're looking for a higher high over 107. And really, we're not looking for trade entries at this point. We are looking for trade confirmations. So if you're already long, this is what you're watching in order to stay in the trade. As soon as we see loss of these 5-minute higher lows, that's when things get a little bit dicey for us. So what we can do is watch this trade develop. If we're looking for a long position, it's not quite ready yet. We're looking for a bull break over 107. So let's see if we can get that. Well, here is our 107 test. We pull back and we see that we have a 106. So that's close enough for me to call it a double top. Now things have defined themselves a little bit further. We have a 5-minute higher low at 98.80. We have a double top at 106. So still not quite ready for a trade for us. But what do you know? We come back up right to that level again. And what do we set? 103. Now we've got effectively a triple top here on you on a ticker that has confirmed a higher low. Well, it will confirm a higher low in the daily time frame, but it has confirmed bull strength above 94.26. So we're paying special attention to that, knowing how quickly we rejected that bearish attack. So the big key at this point is maintaining these beautiful little higher lows. The persistence that these bulls have shown us at this point is pretty remarkable. And as we progress, we see that their persistence manages to pay off. So at this point, I was not watching. Unfortunately, I missed the break of 107. But when we have a nice opportunity here, like we see with persistent 5-minute higher lows, we generally get two opportunities on a bull break. We can buy the immediate break of 107 cents and just buy on that break and hopefully continue straight up. That's the best case scenario for the bulls. The more likely outcome is a break and a back test of this area of resistance to become an area of support. So what we want to see is the bulls to come back down, test this area, maybe even go as far as 103 cents. We'll go so far as to test the 103 level here, and then develop a new 5-minute trend that has the support of these overall 5-minute higher lows and has the oomph of this pattern break. This is an ascending triangle with clear areas of resistance. So as we progress through the day, that's pretty much what I saw. And I'm going to show you guys the lovely little chat that we saw over here. So you with the solid break over major intraday resistance. Of course, that's our big wall at 107 cents. And what we're looking for is a back test, a 5-minute higher low against 107, because we had already broken above this level. We had broken above, bulls proved it with volume. Now what we're looking for is them to hold that level as a beautiful little higher low. So to get into this, what are we going to do? We're going to set our stop. Our target is 101.30 and our stop loss is 174. So let's look at the stop loss first. The stop loss for this is going to be the low of the last little push to the downside. So I did get ahead of myself a little bit. What we got to do is allow this chart to play out. We still had some more price action before we actually had that break. So How do we set our stop losses? Well, let's move forward to where we were on that chart that I showed you. So this is about where we were when we were looking for that entry. So this is a conservative entry, and we're placing our stop loss. All I'm doing is looking at the last 5-minute high or low, 98 or 100.7 right there. That's that low. Let's clear this chart up a little bit to make things easier for ourselves. We have our entry rationale, we have our stop loss, and our target, if I recall, having just looked at it, was 101.30. And the reason I picked 101.30 was it was an hourly resistance level from the other day, the high of afternoon from April 16th. It's just the nicest target that is in the area, and I want to get out a little bit ahead of everyone else who may be putting a stop loss at 101.38. I had no intention of carrying this into after hours or the next day, so I scale into my entry and I'm watching this develop. And I do take about half of my profits right about here as bulls start to slow down a little bit. And then as we get into the end of the day, right before the bell, I take the rest of my profits. So what this is really representative of is being able to look for patterns in sideways action, recognize consecutive higher lows, recognize a beautiful break of a key resistance level, managing your stop losses using these 5-minute higher lows, understanding that when you have a breakout, a conservative entry can often be found when you see some pullback, when you establish that former area resistance as a new area of support, and then not being afraid to scale out into strength as we continue into after hours. The only downside, I love it. This is the best problem to have as far as I'm concerned. I like to be correct, but look at the follow through on that pizzazz. Love it. That is it for today's video. Hopefully it was useful. Please do let me know in the comments how I can improve these. If there's any type of information that would be more useful to you, if you want rationale explained a little bit more effectively, I'm all ears. Let's make this channel the best channel for applying trade theory and understanding how to actually do this stuff.